Hello and welcome to Dice and Demons. I'm Emma and today I want to show you something I built yesterday. Yesterday evening I had about an hour before I wanted to go to bed and I didn't really want to paint any of my minis. On the other hand, I didn't want to start a very big project on top of all the other projects I have already got going on. So I decided to set myself a speed building and painting challenge. Building a piece of terrain in an hour or less. So in this video I'm going to show you how I did that. So I recently got this set from Amazon. It's supposed to be water pipes for children, it's a set of toys, but I thought it would make an excellent base for this project. They're going to be sort of industrial pipes or something like that. And I just tried putting them together in various ways. As I only had an hour, I didn't want to spend too much time on this part of the project, but on the other hand, I wanted it to be something that made a bit of sense and also something that was actually stable enough to use on a gaming table. I mean, no matter how cool something looks, if it's going to fall over when a dice hit it, then it's maybe not as practical as one could have hoped for. So I just had a bit of fun with this, trying to piece the various bits together. Once I was happy with the way the pieces fit together, I got out my super glue and my accelerator. The accelerator makes the super glue dry instantaneously. It seems a bit silly to use an accelerator on super glue because it will dry very fast. That is one of the bonuses of super glue. But as I only wanted to spend 1 hour with the entire building project, building and gluing and painting, I thought I could give myself the luxury of having instant dry super glue. Once the pieces were dry, I went outside to paint them. I used 2 spray cans, a black and a silver one from a do-it-yourself shop. These are just cheap spray cans. I tried to give the pieces a thorough coating, especially with the black. I prefer not to have any pieces of red or blue or yellow looking through the paint. Ideally I would have waited between the coats of black and silver just to let it settle a bit, but as I only had 1 hour I couldn't afford that luxury, so I just sprayed them as fast as I could. It took some time for the spray paint to dry, and I've excluded the drying time, the waiting time here, from the overall painting and building schedule. While waiting for the paint to dry, I did a bit of cleaning in my hobby room. It wasn't nearly as much fun as painting or building, but it was probably time well spent. Once it was all dry, I went inside and got out my typhus corrosion. I gave it all a liberal amount of typhus corrosion all over the terrain pieces. Typhus corrosion is a bit expensive to use on terrain, but it is in my opinion the best way of achieving a rust effect. And again, as speed was of the essence, I thought that the typhus corrosion would give me the best result in the least amount of time possible. While waiting for the typhus corrosion to dry, I got out my Vallejo Light Library Green and put a bit of paint in the mouths of the pipes. I want them to eventually end up looking like some sort of noxious goo is coming out of them. Once the corrosion paint was dry, I got out my Citadel Riser Rust and gave all 3 pieces a very liberal dry brushing with it. I wanted them to look like they were very rusty and old and leaky, so I thought that this was another instant where less is not more, but more is more. Then I get out my UV resin. It's from Green Stuff World and it's called Lime Floor. And I put that in the mouth of the pipes. UV resin is really handy tool to have in your toolbox. It dries almost instantaneously as soon as you hit it with a UV flashlight, which makes creating drops from a pipe like this very easy to achieve and very quick. I might have been able to control it a little bit better if I had used some sort of string or something for the UV resin to run down on, but on the other hand this was a speed painting challenge and I think I ended up with a pretty cool result for not a lot of time spent. You can also get the UV resin in a clear variant, so you don't have to use it in this toxic green style. I prefer this green stuff for this exact project, but I also have the clear variant of the UV resin. The last thing I do is apply some weathering effects from Vallejo. They're called oil stains and streaking grime. Perhaps I should have been a bit more careful how I applied it, but time was running out and I just wanted to make sure that there was a bit of texture and variance in the color on the pipes, so I just gave it a very liberal wash with these two. And the project was done. And here's the finished results. I'm actually fairly pleased with how this turned out. I mean, for only an hour spent, excluding drying time, I think this is totally usable on a gaming table. It was also a lot of fun. I've never done any sort of speed build or painting challenge before, so this was a great way to push myself a little bit beyond my comfort zone. Usually when I build terrain, I spend hours and hours and hours trying to get every single little detail perfect. And when I look at this that I've built and painted in just under an hour, perhaps I think that the time spent with the more detailed builds is not always as well spent as you might have hoped. I actually think this is totally serviceable for a 40k table, for instance. So this was a lot of fun. If you have other challenges you want me to take a look at and perhaps try out on this channel, please let me know in the comment section below. I would also invite you to join the Dyson Demon showroom on Facebook, where you can show off your painted minis or your terrain projects or any other sort of thing that has to do with the wargaming hobby. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, I hope you will consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!